Invented solar H bonds. Now this is a term of industry and I should explain it. It relates to public works. Community choice from the point of view of public works, the 50,000 foot perspective, gives a community control over the spending of funds that it already spends every month on its electric bill. So every one of us here pays an electric bill every month. Currently it goes to the incumbent monopoly utility. Community choice allows the local government to hold hearings and decide what kind of service does it want, basically to reinvent the service and to go out, find a new supplier. So there's revenues that are currently going to conventional power, in your case coal power, predominantly coal power, some nuclear power I believe, to cleaner energy sources, a cleaner energy supplier. That revenue enables you to finance new facilities. And the H-Bond Authority is something that I drafted actually after watching the progress of community choice in Ohio in the formation of the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, which is the largest aggregation in the United States. It includes 6 counties around the suburbs and exurbs and rural areas around Cleveland, 6 counties, 100 and something municipalities, 620,000 customer homes, which is about 1.5 million people that purchase energy through that community choice aggregation. When they formed, there was another group in Northwest Ohio that was trying to find suppliers, and they were having a great deal of trouble finding suppliers because of problems with access to transmission. And so I was in California sort of trying to take it to the next level, and I drafted a revenue bond authority for San Francisco, which required a public vote in that case. Most cities don't need a public vote, but we went out and ran a campaign and the voters approved it. This was effectively a traditional revenue bond financing vehicle, very similar to the kinds of bond issuances that finance bridges. It's another example of the use of municipal public works to build essential infrastructure. There were no big bridges until Robert Moses of New York invented the New York Transportation Authority, the New York Parks, I can't remember, it was the New York Parks Authority, and these were used to finance bridges and to collect tolls in order to repay bonds. This basic model of issuing public debt and establishing the authority to collect revenue to repay the debt is the essential instrument of public works. The solar H bonds, we call them H bonds because of the symbolism of hydrogen, the sun, and it happened to by luck to be Proposition H that passed when the bond authority was passed. So we call them H bonds, is essentially based on a traditional authority to issue bonds. These two basic components are what caused the opportunity that I'm presenting to you today. It is the opportunity to control revenue in a public manner and then issue debt in a public manner. It creates a new kind of economic opportunity for renewable energy. Please, Gary. How am I on time? Am I okay? All right, thank you. So, community choice aggregation, what is it? It is the authority of cities to aggregate the private sector and the public sector, residents, businesses, the street lights, the municipal buildings, and loads. In Ohio, that authority includes both electricity purchasing and gas purchasing. Now, electricity and gas, arguably, I would say in your case, probably causes over half of all of your greenhouse gas emissions for your community. So you have, through this vehicle, the authority to condition your use of energy to impact over half of your entire footprint, your carbon footprint. This community choice authorizes the city to solicit bids from competitive suppliers to come in to provide commodity service. So everyone receives their monthly energy from this new entity. And it leaves the current utility intact as a distribution company. It delivers the power to you. It can either read the meter and send the bill, or the new supplier can read the meter and send the bill. That's up to local control. Please, next slide. So essentially, it doesn't require that the city take over energy, that it become an energy supplier. Instead, it simply authorizes the selection of a new company to come in over a period of time under local terms and conditions. In Massachusetts, the key sort of political agent that got my initial bill adopted was based in Cape Cod, and they really did the political lifting there. Shortly after drafting the bill, my chairman was removed from his position because no one was happy with this bill. Nobody wanted it, and so he was no longer in a position to push it. But these communities down in Cape Cod had a number of idealists, really a very shockingly small number of people who pushed this thing through the legislature and formed the Cape Light Compact. It's had continuous service for electricity and gas, emphasizing energy efficiency and solar photovoltaics since 1998. It's very popular. You can find it on the web. And then there's NOPEC in Ohio. It's 400,000 customers at its low point. It's ranged between 400 and 650,000 customers over the past 7 or 8 years. Next slide, please. When NOPEC did what it did, it was a really interesting story, because I'd gone out to California, and the energy crisis had hit when NOPEC signed its contract with Green Mountain Energy. And NOPEC had gone out to market just looking for cheaper power. They're not environmentalists up there. They just wanted to find someone who could offer a discount for small customers. And so they went out to market, and Green Mountain Energy came in, backed by BP, and they offered a portfolio that had no coal in it and no nuclear. It had only gas and a small increment of renewables. But they also guaranteed a 5% discount. So these communities, which weren't even looking for cleaner energy, achieved an announcement from BP, a 33% net greenhouse gas reduction and a 70% across-the-board pollution reduction for 1 million people with a guaranteed discount. Now this, in terms of conventional market economics, this is not possible. To have greener power, you must pay more, right? Well, no. And it's one of the lessons of the non-linear economics of energy. In energy markets which are not competitive, which have chronic manipulation and collusion problems, when you establish leverage in the market as consumers, that you can indeed perform miracles. And it was a miracle to us. It was a real shot in the arm, and it helped us get the law adopted by the legislature in California in 2002. I've really spent the last 9 years very focused on California. I was born in California and in the north, and focused on San Francisco. The political leadership in San Francisco really pushed this thing through and has been the lead city there implementing. It's a very large market, $17 billion per year, and there are now over 50 jurisdictions, somewhere around 20% of the state, that is trying to implement this policy, with San Francisco in the lead, and the Bay Area as kind of the leading cluster. There, Marin County is probably right behind. Please, next slide, Gary. And so I want to go back to the economics and to this question of price, because it is always the key factor, and it's the key factor for those that turn to nuclear, is that they accept this economic ideology that maintains that green power is more expensive. It's not. The issue is finance. The first thing that allows green power to compete with brown power is the use of municipal financing. It's the basic element of public works, the cost of capital. Something that's little known and little appreciated in the overall energy debate is the capital burden of renewable energy compared to conventional energy. If you're a bank and you're going to underwrite a power plant, you're going to put down about 10% of the life cycle cost of a power plant's power on the plant itself, on the steel. Only 10%. 90% of the cost of that plant and of its capacity that's sold from the plant is the fuel, not the plant. So in effect, fuel is a kind of amortization vehicle. It's financing. You don't have to put all the money down. It's a kind of mortgage.